It's going to be to pose to you a question. Is there really a God? It's going to come into your mind. If it hasn't come yet, believe me, it's going to come knocking on it's going to come knocking on the corners of your mind. Is there really a God? He can speak to the youth. He can speak to the middle age. He can speak to the elderly. It's just to show you. Just like God is no respecter of person, the devil isn't either. He doesn't really care what age you are. He doesn't have mercy on you. It doesn't matter if you're young. It doesn't matter if you're middle age. It doesn't matter if you're old. He doesn't have any mercy on you today. So just keep that in your mind. When the devil comes knocking on your door, posing the question, is there a God? Is there really a God? And he's going to present some situations, some scenarios. He's going to present some situations to you to try to reveal to you that there is no God. But we know that he's a liar. You better be quick. Be quick to get that thought out of your mind. Because when the enemy comes in like a flood, he's going to come in like a flood in your mind. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's going to be so many things. And the devil's going to say, if there were a God, if there were a God, why has he let this happen? If there were a God, why is this taking place? If there were a God. Let me tell you, the devil's smart. He's going to come at you with that. This is going to be one of his last day strategies that he's going to use against you in this day that we're living in. Why? Because he has got to wear down your faith. He's trying to wear out the saints of the Most High. He's trying to destroy your faith in God. Because let me tell you, when you have no faith, you have no hope. What is the opposite of hope? It's hopeless. When you less hope, that means hope has been extracted from your life. And when you have no faith, then you have no hope. Then you have no reason to live. And if the devil can confuse you, if the devil can discourage you, and if the devil can somehow make you believe that there is no God, he's got you exactly within his stronghold where he wants you to be. Because now he can start talking to you. And he can start making you take steps in the wrong direction. But you know what? If you can't do anything else, church, stand still. Don't go back. Let me tell you, don't take a step back. Because when you start going back, you take one step, two steps, you keep going back. When you feel like you can't do anything else, and there's a warfare that's going on in your mind, and the devil is telling you that there is a God, he doesn't care. Don't go back. If you can't go forward, just stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. When there is a Red Sea that is before you, like when the children of Israel came to the Red Sea, and there is a Red Sea that is before you, and the enemy is pursuing you with everything. Pharaoh and his army is pursuing you with everything that they have. Be sure that he wants to destroy you. But if you can't do anything, just stand still and wait. Don't take any kind of action. You know, don't get impatient. Because they that wait on the Lord shall do what? Renew their strength. Anytime strength needs to be renewed, that means your strength is weak. If something needs to be renewed, that means it's not really at that point. It's not in the condition that it needs to be in. And a lot of times our mind is not in the condition that it needs to be in. How many of you have ever been there when the devil comes from every angle? He comes from every direction. And if something really needs to be renewed, again, that means it's not in the condition that it needs to be in. It needs some restoration. But where did he say he was going to restore? Not on the mountaintop. But he said in the valley, he restoreth my what? Even though your flesh may not be restored. Even though your health may not be restored. Even though you may not get what you're asking for. Even though you may sometimes not even get what you're praying for. But it's in that valley that he restores. Why? Because again, if something needs to be renewed, if something needs to be restored, how many of you have ever tried to restore a piece of furniture? You try to bring it back into the condition that it needs to be in. You try to restore it. And that's what needs to be done. There's those that's here this morning, all week God has been talking to me about them. We had 3 people come up, but I'm going to tell you what, there was more than 3 people that the devil been talking to. I'm assured of that. Yeah. Some of you didn't come because maybe you're afraid what people are going to say. You're afraid of what people are going to think. But you know what? It doesn't matter what people think. Don't be swayed by what people think. Be concerned about Him. And when He speaks to you, listen to that still small voice. Because there's going to be a lot of other voices that's going to be talking real loud. And I'm going to tell you what, the devil will talk real loud. He's boisterous. And he will talk real loud. You know why he talks so loud? It's because he wants to shut out that still small voice. Let me explain this to you. But the still small voice doesn't come from without. The still small voice comes from within. That's where it comes from. It comes from within. And if you're going through something in church in America, you'd be surprised at the people that no longer believe that there is a God. They're standing up on that now. They are proclaiming that there is no God. And many of them are voicing it with the mouth. But some of them have not got that brave yet to voice it with the mouth. They have not got that bold yet. But they're believing it. That there is no God. Because the situations and circumstances that they're going through right now, and the devil is bombarding them, just like he did with Job. When Job lost everything that he had, and the devil was bombarding him. There is no God, Job. There is no God, Job. If there were a God, why are you going through what you're going through right now? If there were a God. And let me tell you something else. It's not going to be people that's just been in this thing for a little while that I'm going to be talking to this morning. But I'm talking to some of you that's been in this, and you've been soldiers a long time. You've been in this warfare a long time. But here's what the Bible, He'll try to wear out the saints of the Most High. He's trying to get you down. He's trying to discourage you. By posing that question, if there were a God, or making that statement at least, if there were a God. And then you look at the situation that you're in, you look at the circumstances that surrounding your life, and it seems like the devil is real alive and the devil is real active, but God seemed to be inactive. He seemed to be not doing anything. And it seemed to me God is just sitting there doing nothing while the devil's having his heyday and doing whatever he wants to do. But let me tell you something. His eye is on the sparrow and He's watching over you. Amen. You may be in the valley, but if you are in the valley this morning, and if you are in a situation, God has allowed you to be in that situation for a reason, for a purpose. Because He knows it's not on the mountaintop that you're going to be restored. Your soul is going to be restored. You know what we're wanting to be restored? We're wanting our finances to be restored. We're wanting the sicknesses to be healed. We're wanting everything in our life to work out. And sometimes it really doesn't. And the Bible says, what would it profit a man if he gained the whole world and lose his soul? Or what would a man give in exchange for his soul? Your soul is the most important thing that there is, church. So there's some here this morning, He's taken us plumb away from where I was going to go this morning. He already moved in the way that He wanted to move, spoke in the way that He wanted to speak. And I'm going to tell you what, my agenda doesn't mean nothing. My plans can come to naught when He wants to speak. He wants to do something in this service for somebody this morning. So you may be in a valley. They that wait. You know, I've often said waiting time is not wasted time. How many of you ever feel sometimes you're waiting? You're waiting and you feel like, man, this is a waste of time. I could be doing this, and I could be doing that. Y'all think about what I'm saying this morning. I'm one of those people, I'm quite honest, I don't have a lot of patience. I just got to tell you the truth. If I told you anything different, I'd be lying to you. God's working on me in that area. I don't have a lot of patience. Last night, coming down, I caught a boat. Caught a boat. Y'all know what that's like. Caught a boat. Well, I'm telling you, it looked like, I don't know where the boat was. It must have been down in Pigeon somewhere. Y'all ever been there? And I know it wasn't, but in my little impatient mind, bless God, Brother Ralph, you need to pray. Well, that's my fault. What is your fault? No, don't focus so much on I'm just being honest with you this morning. But what you need to do is focus your attention on, maybe you got all the patience, you got the patience of Job. Well, I don't. God's still working on me in that area. But every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own love. What is your problem? Focus on that. So I'm sitting there. I sat there for a while. I'm one of those active people, got to be doing something. It seems like I got to be doing something all the time. So I'm sitting in the truck, nothing to do. So I get out of the truck. I walk up, going, where is it at? Where is the boat at? I don't see it. I don't see no lights. I don't see nothing. So therefore, I go back, sit in the truck, and finally, after a while, I'll see some lights just slowly coming. Patience. And sometimes, now see, that's not so bad in the natural sense, but when you get down to the spiritual, you better wait on God. Because you know what? God's trying to work something in your life. Maybe He's not, He doesn't come when you want Him to, but He's always right on time. Sister Tisa sings that song about 4 days late. I want you to get ready to come sing that, Sister Tisa. 4 days late. But you know what? When He's 4 days late, He's right on time. We don't realize that this morning, church, but when God is 4 days late, He's right on time. My brother, He's already in the grave. He's been there 4 days and he's already stinking, Lord. I wanted him to be there 4 days. Because if he was just there a few hours and he comes out, then you'd say, oh, he wasn't dead to start with.
Right.
Huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, when God wants to work a miracle, He wants to work a miracle. And you can tell me, say what you want about my grandbaby. I know that was a miracle that happened in that child's life. I have no doubt that God performed the miracle. But she went through all that. If she would have just had a week's problem or two, oh, well, it went away. But no, this has been going on since you've been born. This has been going on for a while. But when God works a miracle, God works a miracle. But you know what? You have to be in a situation to see the miracle of God take place. Sometimes we just got to be patient. God wants to reveal miracles. But you know what we want? We want a miracle when there is no need for a miracle. What am I really saying? We don't want to get in a situation that needs a miracle. If there is no situation, if there's nobody sick, and if there's nobody that needs to be raised from the dead, then how can God perform a miracle? If there's nobody that ever is in that position. Some of you may be in a dire situation right now. I mean, there's situations and circumstances that are spelling defeat, defeat, defeat. You're going down. You're out there tossing on the sea. More water's getting into your ship. I mean, every time another wave, the wind keeps blowing, and every time you hit another wave, a little more water gets into your boat. And what did the disciples say? We're going to sink. We're going to sink. But just when, you know what? They had to have the storm. The wind had to blow. And they had to be out there in the middle of the sea. Let me tell you, they were not on the edge of the bank. You know what? We never want to get too far from the bank. We want to be right on the edge of the bank. If a storm does come, I'm right on the edge of the bank. I can jump onto the bank. No, it didn't happen like that. The disciples were out in the middle of the sea, and what kind of situation? Look at the scenario. It was dark. It was dark. And what happened? The wind started blowing right when they were in. You see, God had everything worked out. You might say, well, the devil's in control. No, God was in control the whole time. It wasn't the devil that was in control. He might have thought that he was in control. You see, the devil was trying to work on their faith. So in the Bible, when the Bible talks about the disciples were out there, and the storm came, and the waves started, and every time there was a wave, some more water get into the boat. Some more water get into the boat. And they were in a pretty hopeless situation. And it seemed we can't take on much more water or we're going under. And I believe it was just about the time they were fixing to sink that all of a sudden through the darkness, somebody's walking on the water. Somebody's walking on the water. Am I seeing what I'm really seeing? And all of a sudden they saw this figure. And you know what? He wasn't walking on smooth water. And the wind hadn't quit blowing. You know what? It wasn't until he spoke, peace be still, that the wind quit blowing and the waves quit rolling. Let me tell you something about my God is great. Charlie was singing. He's great. He's great. You know what? He can walk on water. And when Jesus came walking on the water, you know what he was walking on? He wasn't walking on just any kind of water. He wasn't even walking on smooth water. I mean, no, we can't walk on smooth water. I don't care how smooth it is. We can't walk on it. He was walking on waves. And you know what? Those waves didn't affect him at all. That wind didn't blow him down. It had no effect whatsoever. Who's that coming? And they recognized that it was Jesus that was walking on the water, walking on those waves, boisterous. The wind was blowing and those waves were rolling. But Jesus came walking on the water. You know, we read that. You know why that was recorded in the Word of God? It was recorded to reveal what? A miracle to us. It was recorded, especially for us that are living in 2017, it was recorded so that we could read that and said, that was a miracle. But you know what? If He did it for them, He'll do it for you. You may not be on a natural ship. You may not be in the middle of the sea right now, but your life.
That's right.
You know, sometimes we go through what we call storms in life. And it's not a natural ship that you're on. But there's some of you here today. The reason God had Ava go and pray for Sister Gail this morning. She didn't know a whole lot about Sister Gail, what's going on in her life. But God knew exactly what kind of storm Sister Gail is going through in her life right now.
That's right.
And that's why Jesus went walking on the water to get to her.
That's right.
The storm didn't affect him from getting a message across to her.
Amen.
I'm the Lord, I want to speak to you this morning. Just to know that He's there is enough for me. So you may be going through a storm in your life. Oh, I had some teaching series I was going to teach this morning, excited about what I was going to teach. But God just wanted me to preach a little bit and stir up your faith. You may be going through a storm, but there has to be a storm for God to reveal a miracle. There has to be a time when you go and you don't feel any peace for Him to be the peace speaker or the peacemaker. You have to be going through troubled times for Him to reveal that I can bring peace. You have to be going through a storm for Him to reveal that I can calm the storms. It's more than just words that we say and words that we sing. It's the reality of life. Man that is born of a woman is what? Few days and what? Full of trouble. Waves. You know, your life is like a ship, and you're being tossed. There may be some of you here this morning. You feel like you can't get another bucket full of water in your ship. If you do, you're going down. Have you ever thought in your mind, I can't take any more? There's someone here this morning that is saying that. You have been proclaiming this. I can't take anything else. If I take anything else, I'm going to break. You know what you're saying that with? You're saying it with your mind. Your heart hasn't said that. Your heart hasn't proclaimed yet. Your heart is still proclaiming that there is a God and He's going to see me through. But the troubled mind, your mind is the battlefield of the soul. Your mind is warring. I mean, you got all kinds of thoughts that the devil is putting in your mind. You're going through a storm, but God's wanting to reveal a miracle. There may be someone say, but when, Brother Al? When? I don't know. When Jesus decided to step off of the bank and start walking toward the ship, I don't know when. And I don't know if He just got there to a certain distance and they could see Him walking on the water. I don't know when He decided to act. But He acted just in time. And I can't tell you when God is going to act on your behalf. But I can tell you the thoughts that He got toward you.
Hallelujah.
Jeremiah 29:11. He said, I got thoughts toward you. Thoughts of peace and not of evil. To bring you an expected end. God got something for you. And the devil's going to try to stop it. So there's someone here, Sister Jesus, would y'all come? I want you to sing that song. 4 days late. We may think that He's late this morning. Is He going to ever come? Jesus showed up after Lazarus had been dead 4 days. Don't you think Jesus could have showed up earlier if He would have wanted to? If He would have wanted to, He could have showed up a lot earlier than 4 days. But He wanted to wait until supposedly Lazarus was already stinking in the grave. I want you to know he's really, really, really dead. Let me tell y'all, if somebody in this church would die, and you were in the doctor's office and the doctors would singly revive you, and maybe the doctors had nothing to do with it. Maybe God revived you, but who's going to get the credit? Who is going to get the credit? The doctors. The doctors are going to get the credit. Even though it may have been nothing the doctors did. It may be something totally that God did to restore life back to you, but the doctors are going to get the credit. But after you've been in the tomb for 4 days, there is no doubt that you're dead. But Jesus, and He came out with the grave clothes still wrapped around Him. He was dead. And one of His sisters said, well, don't you know, Lord, He's already stinking after 4 days? It doesn't matter. My God created us from the dust of the earth. Don't you think that He can breathe life back into us if He wants to? I want to build up your faith through the Word this morning. Again, in Jeremiah, He said, is there anything that's too hard for God? And I want you to know there's not a situation that you're going through in your life right now that my God can't take care of. Don't put faith in the situation. Put faith in God, who can control the situation. So whatever you're going through today, as she's singing 4 days later, if you want to come up for prayer this morning, say, oh, Brother Ralph, I'm going through things in my life, and I know God would not have allowed me to minister like this morning if you're not going through something in your life. Your storm may be different than my storm. Nobody's storm is exactly alike. But I do know your ship is being tossed this morning. And if you want prayer this morning, as Sister Tisa singing 4 days later, I want you to come this morning. Come on, let's worship God this morning.
News came to Jesus. Please come back. Lazarus is sick, and without your help, he will not die.
Would you come this morning if you're in a storm?
Mary and Martha,
You don't have to go through this storm by yourself.
they watched their brother.
Just look out. Jesus is coming, walking on the water this morning.
Waiting for Jesus, he did not come.
You may be a little child this morning here. You may be a young person here this morning. You got your own little storm. It's a child storm. It's a teenage storm. It's your own little storm that you're going through. But it's your storm. It's your ship. Would you come this morning?
Martha ran to him,
Oh,
and then she cried. If you had been here, you would have been still be alive.
hallelujah.
Oh, but you're 4 days late.
Oh, would like to come and pray with these that's gathered around, why don't you just come?